We truly appreciate everything they do for us every day. Admiral Fowler, we had a great conversation last week, and you really stressed to me the importance of our neighborhood. And I want to continue visiting about that today, because we do need to be very aware, and I think this committee is, but that we have a lot of nefarious influencers within our own neighborhood. And I would like to talk a little bit about those transnational criminal organizations, as well as those that may be influencing those TCOs and where that's coming from. So you've provided the placemats for us today. China, Iran, Russia, they're all influencers in our neighborhood. And they're all operating. We see the TCOs as well. They are operating to our south, and they're bringing in about $90 billion of revenue annually. That is very concerning to me. And then the increase of movement across our borders is something troubling that we've all been talking about today. And we have to make sure that we're defending that border and pushing back against these influencers. So let's talk a little bit about the TCOs and what they are doing in the Southcom AOR, and are they working alongside China, Russia, and Iran?
The transnational criminal organizations are just murderous, violent organizations. They're murdering people, driving migration, and they're fueled on corruption. And so when I look at the interconnection of these organizations and the China-Russia players in our hemisphere, I look at corruption as a common element. It fuels both. Then we look at lack of regard for human rights, and there's a commonality there. And then we look at lack of regard for rules-based international order or rules in general, and there's a commonality there. So there is an interconnection. The money laundering connection is the most significant, where Chinese money laundering underwrites TCOs a significant portion, and that's something that we're tracking as part of all of interagency effort here in the United States. And so this corrosive influence undermines our democracies and contributes to the fragility and the security concerns we have right in proximity to the United States. Location, location, location drives everything, and that location is so important in this neighborhood.
Mm-hmm. So as Senator Shaheen was asking about Chinese influence, so there's above-the-board operations going on with China where they're maybe engaging in legal activities, but then you're saying they engage in these criminal activities as well, and under-the-radar type of criminal organizations.
So the National Defense Strategy and our Secretary's guidance cites China as the pacing challenge, and I side with what the Indo-PACOM commander said. It's the most significant threat we face in the 21st century. And we want this competition to work out peacefully and not end in conflict and not be adversarial. But Chinese, in addition to the illegal, unreported, unregulated fishing, is involved in illegal mining, illegal logging. They are at least tacitly supporting the money laundering. They are using COVID and vaccines as a hammer to further the Chinese Communist Party interests, particularly to get better deals for Huawei and 5G, and to try to drive a wedge between the remaining countries that support Taiwan, and the majority of those are here in this hemisphere. So yes, Senator, their corrosive, insidious influences being felt right here in our neighborhood.
Yeah, thank you, Admiral, and I appreciate our discussion to that effect last week. And General Van Herk, in the remaining time that I have, we've had a number of our own troops working the southern border, which I think has been extremely important. They've been supporting United States Customs and Border Patrol. Are they still playing a vital role in the defense of our nation at our southern border?
Senator, probably best answered by CBP and DHS. My recent visit would tell you that we are playing a role to enable them to do their law enforcement role by providing support. When I look at the challenges that transnational criminal organizations create on the border, the symptoms that we're seeing are the migration, the human trafficking, the counter-narcotics. From a homeland defense perspective, Mexico being in the United States NORTHCOM AOR, and two major transnational criminal organizations with the Sinaloa and New Jalisco, we have a national security imperative with regards to the instability that they create, the tragedies they create, and the opportunities they create for nefarious actors such as China or Russia right on our own southern border to have access and influence. And so it concerns me very much, Senator.
Yeah, thank you, gentlemen, very much, and I appreciate you safeguarding our neighborhood. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Senator Ernst. Let me recognize